focusing on the transformative skills of Mahatma Gandhi. His understanding of Gita has resulted in popular workshops like What Krishna Meant and Human Investment Mahabharata Lessons. He's engaged in interdisciplinary research at IIT and has few publications in scientific reports exploring brain process. We can find his MOOC courses on NPTEL, Psychiatry and Overview, and How the Brain Creates Mind are popular. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Should we
Let's
start?
hear from yes. Let's hear from Neha about her event. Yes, sir.
Okay, sure, please. No, I was saying we have it in English now. Or you prefer Hindi or okay. All right.
Anything is fine. Yeah. So we can have English as well as Hindi or a mixture of both as well.
Yes.
Let's hear from Neha about our event, Youth Impact Crucible. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Rakshita ji. Am I audible? I'll be sharing my screen. Please confirm.
Yes, you're audible, Neha.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Pranams to everyone here, Mr. Alok Bajpai ji and Swami Bodhimananda ji. Namashri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Sure Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharini. Salutation to that king of renunciators and controller of passions, the sage Vivekananda, who is Satchitananda, existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute itself, the spiritual preceptor, the remover of all distress. The youth of modern era are at crossroads, inclining towards globalization. The time is ripe for them to know that globalization stands for inculcating moral, spiritual, and social values and not discarding them. Swami Vivekananda is universally recognized as having kindled the energy, enthusiasm, patriotism, and self-confidence in people, which have led them to be acquainted with India's culture and tradition, and the quest to perceive this rich heritage. Now the world is paying tribute to him, and his intellect and spiritual ideas are being accepted widely by all. In every field of action and every mode of thought, his teachings give inspiration and offer solution to every possible problem. Presenting you the deck of National Youth Impact Crucible, with the theme of channelizing youth power through the idea of service. The forum is dedicated to young change makers pursuing graduate and undergraduate degrees from different institutes of India, and is actively involved in influencing life and in bringing positive social change through their service. It is a great opportunity that encourages young student change makers to showcase their impact of their service in society and influence thousands of young minds to involve themselves in the service of the nation and the people. As they say, Manav Seva hi Madhav Seva hai. The service to man is the service to God himself. The program will be crucible of ideas, thoughts, retrospections, and leadership skills. So the domains of National Youth Conclave, that is National Youth Impact Crucible, the first one goes impacting the lives of underprivileged children with education and skill set. Children carry a lot of dreams in their eyes. Dreams are bigger than the resources they have. You can be the one who can make them come true and not bury them. It is all about planting a dream and seeing the colors blossom and them flying in bright colors. As Swami Vivekananda said, have faith in yourself. Great convictions are the mothers of great deeds. Impacting the green cover of community or educational institution. Your goals under this theme should address issues such as green campus Our goals under this theme should address issues such as green campus concept, tree plantation drive in our community, social behavioral change, or some out of the box sustainability models, and most importantly, our role as educators. The next one is the power of youth in improving community conditions for health. Health, in the broad sense, also happens in the places where people live, work, learn, and play. Organizing community residents have become an increasing approach to promote the health of public and population health. The fourth forum comes service to aged people. Elders desire a life of good health, dignity, economic independence, and finally a peaceful death. They long for care, love, affection, and understanding. It is our duty to understand their needs and concerns that will ensure their good health and well being. Coming to the Coming to the online competition, the participants will be requested to fill the basic requirements form, which will be circulated by the Youth for Good Governance team. You need to fill up the basic information of yourself and their interventions, a brief description of the intervention, impact on social, community, and individuals or groups. The above mentioned documents will be submitted by the participants for the first round, and the selected teams will be invited for the final rounds. The participants need to submit their idea in a PowerPoint presentation that will be analyzed and reviewed by the higher officials. Eligibility criteria for participants will be any undergraduate or postgraduate students. The presenters or a presenter must be a team from the same or different institutions. Minimum 3 to 5 members in the team will be encouraged. The platform is designed to demonstrate tangible impact created by the change makers and not the ideas or theories of change. The participants will be able to register and attempt the first round of selections, which will be online. The final round will be an offline event where each team would be given 20 minutes to present their ideas of service and impact. Presentations should be preferably in English, as it is a mode of highest mode of communication. Regional languages are also acceptable. Opportunities for the participants will be the shortlisted participants will be invited to present their ideas of change at Vivek Institute of Excellence, Visakhapatnam, Hyderabad, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. Sorry. The shortlisted change makers will be provided with mentorship support by renowned social leaders of India, which will help them scale their ideas to a new level, and the scope of interventions will be encouraged. They will be getting an opportunity to attend a week-long leadership training organized by Vivek Institute of Excellence, Ramakrishna Mission Ashram, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. Certificates and recognition will be provided. So this is the timeline of the event. 12th of January. Okay, we had the launch of Youth Impact Crucible 2022. 15th of May, we have the deadline for the first round. 15th of June, we'll have the announcement of the results of the first round. 30th of June, we'll have the submission of final round PowerPoint presentations by the shortlisted participants. 10th and 11th of July 2022 will be the Youth Conclave presentation. And 12th of July 2022 onwards, there will be a leadership training. Sincerity of conviction and purity of motive will surely gain the day, and even a small minority armed with these is surely destined to prevail against all odds. As Swami Vivekananda said, this is the great fact. Strength is life, weakness is death. Strength is facility, life external, immortal. Weakness is constant strain and misery. Weakness is death. Teach yourself, teach everyone, serve yourself, serve everyone. Manav Seva hi Madhav Seva hai. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha, for that information. To participate in the event, please fill in the registration forms and do reach out to any of your friends or colleagues or college friends who are interested in it. Link for the registration will be provided in the chat box. Now, let's welcome Alok sir to share his knowledge and experience. You're on mute, sir.
Now, audible?
We can hear you.
Wonderful. I would love if people are on their videos, right? Maximum people. Because if you can see beautiful faces, good things come out. Yeah, otherwise it's a black hole. So what I'll do is, am I audible clearly? So I'll largely try to talk in Hindi, in English, but some Hindi will creep in. And so if you, just in case there's a word which is slightly too much, then please ask me. If I know the meaning, I'll tell you. Because not all we speak, we know. Most of it we don't know. We keep talking. One second, I'll speak briefly. And I'm not going to make you comfortable. I don't want to make youth comfortable. Comfortable youth only rest. They don't do anything. And especially when we are talking under the big name of Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda, I don't think comfort is what we are seeking. Am I right? Those who know him will tell that the man never stood for comfort. He stood for something else. So, but anyway, we have been told to talk about service. And we have heard good quotes from Neha. And I'm sure there are many quotes like this. But do we really know what service is? Do we know it? I mean, don't answer me. Answer yourself. And you can share your answer at the end of it if you want. See, service as a, we can look at service from two angles. One, an act. An act of service we all do. Sometimes you serve your parents, your brothers, sisters, your colleagues, we all do that. In our daily life, we may notice it or we may not notice it, but the fact of the matter is that we all do. And second is the concept of service. Now, this concept of service, which is actually what you're going to talk, what you want me to talk about. Otherwise, you won't be discussing it. Everybody is doing service. But obviously, you want to take this whole concept of service from the mundane daily things which we do to a higher level. For humanity, as he said, Manav Seva hi Madhav Seva hai. That means you have also robed in God in that, and which is a fact. Because try to look at it. Krishna was talking about service in Gita. Cut down to Buddha and Mahavir, they were trying to do it differently. They never talked of service per se and social organizations, but Buddha and Mahavir were trying to raise the human consciousness. And as an indirect effect, once you raise the human consciousness, it includes everybody. And obviously you end up serving people in one or the other way. And then came the biggest, Christ. Christ was all for service. And he took it to another dimension where he was ready to bear the sins of everybody. I mean, that is a service, isn't it? You take the sins of others. And then so on and so forth, a lot of people kept coming. There was a whole Nirgun Bhakti movement where Kabir, and what they were talking about is service in some other sense. I will come to that, what I'm talking about actually. And of course, Swamiji at the beginning of, towards the end of 19th century and 20th century, and he said, to serve Narayan, you have to serve Darid Narayan. Right? We all know his quotes, we all know his ideas. And cut to 20 years later, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. See, both these people in different times, were pointing out not so much at service, that they were saying in any ways. Service of poor, service of people, connects you to God, it's a spiritual movement, it will take you to a higher dimension. All that is fine. We all know that. But have you realized it? Have you? मानने और जानने में बहुत फर्क है. मैं भगवान मानता हूं, भगवान जानता हूं मैं कि नहीं. So keep this question in mind because it will resurface. Both these people, when they were talking of service, they were also pointing out at something very important. Anybody can tell me? Any of you young people? What were they pointing? In different times they were pointing same stuff. Any idea? Wild guess? I mean, it's not a wild guess, it's all written there. What, nothing? Acha, chalo. They were pointing that service has to be a true service. If it is done for show off, for a purpose, or you're doing it from just the surface, it has no meaning. It has to come from where? God.
Heart.
From within, from your heart, from your brain. Otherwise it is useless. Otherwise it is for a gain. That is one. And second, they also pointed out, well, like what Gandhi used to say, the best way to lose yourself is service of humanity. So what is this losing they are talking about? Which Swamiji was also saying. He was saying it in a different dimension. Gandhi was saying it in a different dimension. Losing yourself means a state of what? Where your ahankara goes, melts away. Egolessness. So your egolessness cannot come unless you learn to serve and lose yourself in humanity. That was the deeper thing. And because once you lose, the other aspect of it is you always connect to God. See, it's all connected. Manav Seva is Madhav Seva. You lose yourself in humanity, do a true service, you get into egolessness, you connect to God. Wonderful. Is it easy? Why wasn't there a Christ after Christ? Why isn't there a Swamiji after Swami Vivekananda? Why isn't a Gandhi after Gandhi? Why isn't a Buddha after Buddha? Disciples, yes, I'm not doubting them. And they're very serious, very earnest. They try to do things. But tell me, all you young people should ask this question to yourself. Why isn't that glory there? Swamiji wouldn't have loved us repeating his own sentences. Am I right? Or wrong? What? Right, wrong? I mean, imagine yourself standing in front of Swami Vivekananda and talking his own sentences. He would have blown you off, I'm telling you. He would have blown you off. Gandhi would have said, Bhaiya, maaf karo. Jao, kuch aur karo. Mujhe mat batao. Buddha used to say, Bas. Krishna told Arjun, when he heard Gita, after the war was over, before Krishna was ready to come to Dwarika, Arjun had the gall to ask Krishna कि उस दिन मैं confused था, पूरी गीता समझ में नहीं आई थी, एक बार फिर से सुना दीजिए. I mean, what audacity he had. Krishna did not tell him Gita again. He told him another story. That became Anugita. Imagine Krishna not repeating the same thing. He said, what the hell, yaar? I mean, you were in a war, you were confused, you were confused. I was telling you the distillation of my life. I was not giving you a pravachana. And you say you were confused. And now you want to listen to the same thing when the war is not there, when the conflict is not there, and then you want to listen it in a peaceful time. Obviously, Gita wouldn't be the same. Trust me, Gita wouldn't have been the same had he told in the second, third, fourth. So we have copies of Gita, isn't it? All of us have at our home. Oh, it's far away from what Krishna was talking. Far away. This is all words. And over words, you have interpretations and all. But the true distillation of everything came when Krishna was talking to Arjun. So as a Arjun, if you become Arjun, you will get a Krishna. First, you have to become Arjun. You have to ask him. Imagine if Arjun would have fought the war that day without saying, I don't want to fight. What would have happened? What? Where would have been this Gita? Huh?
Dharma wouldn't be established.
No, Dharma was not established even after that. For the Dharma, there would have been no Gita. There would have been no Gita. Krishna wouldn't have caught him and said, Chalo bhaiya, let's go stand in the corner and let me tell you Gita and then you fight. If he wanted to do that, he would have done one evening before that. So it was Arjun who asked the question. So all Gita should be credited not to Krishna, to Arjun. Trust me, Krishna, and what was he telling? Krishna was telling the whole distillation of his life. People who don't understand Krishna cannot understand Gita. This is the biggest flaw. You all young people should mind it. You have to know Krishna before you know Gita. Otherwise, it will all become Sanskrit shlokas which will take you nowhere. Same stands for Buddha. Same stands for Christ. Same stands for Swamiji. Same stands for Gandhi. We can talk 1,000 times, we can do 1,000 conclaves, we can listen to lectures every day. But tell me, with all so many great people across the world, even Prophet Muhammad told, zakat. You heard of a word called zakat? Hajj, namaz, zakat. Zakat is a portion of your earning which you have to give it to people. So see, nobody was talking differently. But I'm asking you all young people, just stand up anywhere and look around your country. Do you think these things are in display somewhere? Or are people following it? क्या अभी तो अपने कंट्री का हाल ऐसा है. Why can't Christ stop a war between Russia and Ukraine? You think if you put a Christ ka murti there, war will stop? Putin will blow it off with one missile. Forget it. Lithuania has put a statue of Gandhi at its border. When somebody invades, at least they will stop. And see our own country. No, I'm not talking cynically, but I want you all good people to think. Because unless you become Arjun, this age requires different answers. The answers of Mahabharata were for Mahabharata. Some of them may be true now, but every age has to define. Ram was not talking of what Krishna was doing. Or was he talking the same thing? He had his different dharma defined at that different time. Today is Ram Navami. So you should remember what Krishna had to do it differently. Buddha had to do it differently. Swamiji had to do it differently. Gandhi had to do it differently. Right? At Swamiji's time, regaining the self-confidence of the country was so important. And mind was not the self-confidence of Hindus. Confidence of the country. The most famous letter, I don't know whether you have all heard. Have you heard of a letter which Swamiji wrote to Sarfaraz, his friend? Have you heard of it? No? Swamiji used to say, if there is one religion in the world, I would like the mind, intellect of Hinduism and heart of Islam. This is for all those people who think they were narrowed vision people. They were not narrowed vision people. Problem is that all these people were not talking of small groups. They were talking for whole humanity. But humanity has to churn out things for them. Service often becomes like what? I once went to Vrindavan and I asked for a cold drink. So this pan wala gave me a cold drink. He said, "Bhaiya 11 rupaye." You all understand this much Hindi, na? "Bhaiya 11 rupaye." So I said, "क्या यहाँ वृंदावन में हर चीज प्रसाद के भाव में मिलती है क्या? 11 रुपए, 21 rupees, 51 rupees, 101 rupees." वो बोला, "भैया, I will tell you, ये जितने लोग जा रहे हैं ना बाके बिहारी के मंदिर, अभी आज ठाकुर निकलना है मूर्ति से और कहते हैं जितना प्रसाद आज चढ़ा मैं खाऊंगा, तो कल से वृंदावन खाली हो जाएगा। ये जा ही इसलिए रहे हैं कि अपना प्रसाद वापस ला सकते हैं घर अपने। ये बहुत लोग जो दान करते हैं उनके पीछे देखो पर्दा उठा के सबका इनकम टैक्स का झंझट चल रहा होता है। और कहां से आ रहा है पैसा? आई एम जस्ट गिविंग अ फ्यू एग्जांपल्स। तो जो बहुत दिस इज वेयर स्वामीजी's and Gandhi's thing become important. क्या what are you doing? You're doing a show off, or you are wheeling dealing with God? You are trying to do a प्रायश्चित, दान पुण्य से स्वर्ग में सीढ़ी मिलना है वाला है। You youth have to learn to differentiate between true service, right? A true service is of a person who has only दो वक्त का रोटी to eat and still is cleaning the temple every day. The true service is a person who sits outside a temple. He doesn't earn money, but he is still giving water to people. He has no gain. One thing first, true service is without what? Without what? Gain. Without a self-interest.
Selfless service.
Selfless service, yes. We do selfless service with our children, with our brothers, sisters, with our parents, maybe with some of us, with our friends. But trust me, they are all personal people who are close to you. The moment you step out of the personal space, how many of us are really stepping out of ourselves to help somebody whom you don't know? We were taught in school, it is a very good thing to take a hand of a blind person and make him cross a road. When did you see it last? When did you see out on the road when somebody is driving a car slowly and your car is behind that, you really give weightage that there must be an old person or a lady driving. Abhi to people start cursing and abusing and doing whatever. Abhi mobile kar raha hoga, phone laga hoga. Then you cross the car, you see there is an old man who is driving who has some vision impairment. Don't you think this is all related to service? Why do you think that service means कि जाके पानी पिलाना है, खाना खिलाना है, जगह साफ करनी है? Why? I think if you can behave like a human being, giving full validity and decorum to the other person in all situations, irrespective whether they are related to you, whether they are blood relatives, or that is the core of service. Because that is when your ego is minimized. That is a state of egolessness. But trust me, it is very, very difficult to practice. And why I am saying so? Because service as a concept is not some theoretical concept in first place. Can anybody tell me Why is service important? Forget the egolessness and greater dimensions of spirituality and God and all. Anyway, if you have egolessness, you meet God alone. Unless you call me at that time. You ask the God to wait, I'll call my friend. You'll not do that in first place. Yeah, nobody will do that. Why is service important? Is it a social concept? Is it a psychological concept? Is it a biological concept? Anybody? There are no correct answers. Please feel free. Huh?
Psychological concept that we get some
Yes.
peace after doing that.
Yes.
If it is with selfish reason also, we feel satisfied,
You
very
get some
happy.
peace. Yeah.
We feel like we
It's
have
by,
done
by
great.
doing things for other, you feel happy. That's what you're saying.
Hmm. Hmm.
Am I right? Anything else?
Sir, I think after food, these all necessary things. Service is something also very important for existence. Or like,
Have you seen Abraham Maslow's pyramid?
yeah,
You
yes,
seen it?
yes.
Food, security, then career, loved beings and all. Service is at the pinnacle. Only very few people cut across it. Vivekanand ji can cut across it. Gandhi can cut across it. People go step by step. By the time they reach, they're already gone from the world. So you take a Punarjanam and finish it. But Punarjanam will again bring you to that baseline of food. So how do you reach there? Okay, let me surprise you with something. I'm a psychiatrist and a neuroscientist. Okay, so I teach a lot of neuroscience, and these days I'm working on evolutionary psychology and cognitive archaeology, whatever it means. I think service is biological, not directly, indirectly. How have we progressed from and separated ourselves from other mammals, chimpanzees, and all that? How have Homo sapiens survived the rest of the Homo Neanderthal and Australopithecus and Erectus and all that stuff? By three things. One, we differed from animals by standing on our 2 feet. So our hands were free to do a lot of things. Second, we developed communication through language. They also have communication, but all that cooing and all this shouting and shrilling and all that is one different complex. But we had language. But more than that, you must have heard a sentence called man is a social being. It is not a statement of sociology or psychology. I have started claiming that this is a statement of biology. Because we have some neurons in our head. Neurons are the basic structure of brain. The 10 to the power 11 neurons in a network. All the drama of the world we create from here. We fight ourselves, we repress, suppress, good, bad, right, wrong, morality. Everything is here. So I think God is there and our brain is here. All rest is a story. Mirror neurons create what we call theory of mind. That differentiate ourselves as human being. My mind can read you and approximate of what you're thinking. You understand this? If you are sad, suppose I see sadness on your face, Rakshita, even if you don't tell me, I will realize it. Because your facial expression would have gone through my eyes and evoked the same pattern and feelings in my head. This, in other words, is called empathy. You know what what is sympathy and empathy? If you cry, I also start crying. That is sympathy. But at the same time, I feel your emotion, but I can still separate myself to offer you a solution. That is empathy. In other words, it is called putting yourself in the shoe of the other person. Right? That has made us survive together. Where all other animal beings were fighting it alone, we were fighting it together. we still live by empathy. So the people whom we were talking about were the masters of empathy. They knew what is happening in the mind of the other person. And when it happens, at that time you want to reach out. You want to wipe the tear. You want to give your hand, you hold it. Or I am a psychiatrist, although the whole day I keep doing this. So that is my need to reach you. And when I extend my hand, I want you should hold my hand. Or you give my hand, I should hold your hand, whatever. The holding is so important. Service emanates from this. There's a fear of death in all of us, but there's a fear of being left alone also all the time. Am I right? You see Hindi films, na? There's always a villain who exploit the same people and raat mein unko kuch, he will go and give something. Are? Why are you exploiting if you have to give it? But he'll exploit, but that is for self. रात में गिल्ट हुआ सेल्फलेस तो थोड़ा भगवान को मक्खन लगा दिया जाके, वो जिससे एक्सप्लॉइट किया वो भगवान को सोने का मुकुट पहना दिया है। ये भगवान को नहीं चाहिए भाई सोने का मुकुट, उससे उसका क्या हुआ, उसका तो लूट लिया, सो ऑन सो फोर्थ। तो रॉबिन हुड भी सर्विस करता था, कहता अमीरों से लूटा भी गरीब को दे दिया। चाहे कुछ भी स्टोरी हो, बिल गेट्स कैन रन द कोविड शो, but he will also give money for research. You know Bill Gates, no? No. Bill Gates Foundation gives so much money for research, but he is earning a lot from this COVID vaccines. Who knows what is happening? Actually, in fact, I told one of the big time liquor maker, I said the best service you can do is open a de-addiction center also. अभी एक फैक्ट्री से शराब बनाओ और उधर डी-एडिक्शन सेंटर खोल दो, वाह, सब बैलेंस। This is the type of service which is happening mostly. But true service comes from your need to connect to the other person as a group, as a community, as an individual. That is why it is so easy to serve your own people, because you are already connected to them. But it is so very difficult to connect to a stranger and do it. Yes or no? Mahatma Gandhi ka non-violence everybody knows theoretically, but very few people know how he practiced it. I'll just tell you one incident. Gandhi was beaten up in South Africa very badly, many times. He would have died. But he never complained against those people who were beating him up. Once it happened that a guy called Mir Alam had beat him up and he was in jail. Gandhi was in coma. He came out, he said, "He kahan hai Mir Alam?" Uska jail mein. Bole, choda la usko. So Mir Alam came, he said, "Galti ho gayi ye sab." Gandhi said, "No, I am not worried कि तुमने मुझे मारा. I am not worried कि तुम मुझे मार देते. मेरी worry थी, when you were beating me up, I should not develop hatred towards you." Read it. When you were beating me up, at that point my worry was not to hit you. This is the pinnacle of it, isn't it? Going to a point where your self is being demolished and you. So demolishing self, there can be many ways. There can be a Gandhian way, there can be a Swamiji's way, there can be a Christ कहता था क्या है करो. You want to nail me, nail. You want to kill me, kill. I will take as God's son all your sins. All your sins. You cannot really gather your energy. So read Swamiji very carefully actually. One should read Swami Vivekananda very carefully. We often misinterpret. Because we misinterpret because we don't see the process of the person. Swamiji was avatar of Shiva. Huh? When he was talking of service, he is talking of service to Shiva. You all know this. Yeah. If you have not read, go and read it. He was a fire alive. But he was a questioner, you know this. You know how he discovered, what was his discovery to God? Anybody can tell me the story? What? No?
He went to Dakshineshwar to ask Sri Ram Krishna that show me God, where is
Much later.
He went to each and
Much
every
later.
priest of all religions, and he asked them if they personally saw God. And then finally, one of his lecturers at his college guided him to Sri Ramakrishna.
Partly true. One night, when the river was at its full tide, Vivekananda jumps into the river, swims to a bajra, that is big boat, and meets Maharishi Devendranath Thakur. Ask, आपने भगवान देखा है? Devendranath Thakur says, sit. He says, bas, jawab mil gaya, you have not seen it. He jumps back in the night and swims back. And he goes to Ramakrishna ji as a non-believer. And he asks, so what does Ramakrishna do?
He puts hand on his head. He puts his hand on the head.
Pair, foot. You know, and then when Vivekananda ji was in dire strait of financial crisis, he said, you go and ask Ma, Kali se पूछो. तो कहते कैसे मांगे? कहते मांगो, काली से नहीं मांगो, किससे मांगोगे? जाओ. Vivekananda goes, and he doesn't ask anything. But Vivekananda remained a questioner. I mean, he was sharpest intellect actually. You think he was not asking question even after becoming a Swami? Read his speech in Chicago. Read his interactions with other people. His burning intellect was questioning. And so answers which he brought out were from within actually. You understand? So if I ask you to, okay, you are doing a conclave and you ask people, okay, tell me your idea of service. Where is the answer coming from? Where is your answer coming from? Hey, don't curse me if you all don't sleep tonight. Huh? I want you not to sleep. If you sleep, then all this is waste. Where is the answer coming from? अभी तुम लोग पढ़ा दोगे 6-7 sentence quotes. गांधी जी ने कहा, विवेकानंद जी ने कहा, उन्होंने ये कहा, इन्होंने, अरे क्या करना है उसका? अभी उसका क्या करना है? गांधी जी तो है नहीं इधर, स्वामी जी भी नहीं है. आपको इस दुनिया में जीना है. आप wherever you are living, the world around you needs your service, right? Why do you have to go back and ask Swamiji? And I'm sure if you would have asked Swamiji, na, sir, I am living in Kanpur city, how do I serve? He would have gotten back to his original form and thrown you out. जैसे कि चलो अभी गंगा में तुम्हें सैर करा लाते हैं चल के. गांधी जी तो अहिंसा छोड़ के लाठी उठा लेते दो. गांधी जी तो वैसे भी इस देश में होते, अभी लाठी उठा लेते, उसका हिंसक प्रयोग कर लेते. वो मारने के लिए नहीं उठाए, अब मैं उठाता हूँ, हिंदुस्तान में मारने के लिए लाठी चाहिए. But what I'm trying to say, if you find the answer from within, that will be your signature, and that you will follow all your life. Trust me. If you take answers from anybody else, even from me, I don't give answers anyways, so then you will follow it to some point. But if your temperament doesn't suit that, it will fall. You understand what I'm saying? I am a psychiatrist. I can serve by 2-3 mechanisms. I can teach people, which I do, ranging a lot. I see patients. Sometimes they don't have a fee, I drop it. Sometimes I take, all that drama is happening. I'm available to people on my mobile. I'll be available to you also. I'll give my number so you can keep chatting and keeping a dialogue open. This is my way of communicating with people, whether it's service or whatever. I don't try to label it. As long as our interaction is of mutual benefit, forget mutual benefit. If it is making us give some anand, ultimate what. So what you were saying, किसी के लिए कुछ करके feel good now. Why do you want to feel good? Because everybody is looking for a pleasure called anand, where yourself, the world around you, the people around you, they all become one. सूफी इसको तौहीद कहते हैं, हम इसको अद्वैत कहते हैं. ये शब्द बड़े अच्छे हैं, लेकिन फील करना बड़ा मुश्किल है. हाउ डू यू फील इट? Bring me a man who has felt it. Arey, you will spend your lifetime, you will not find one. Because the day you find a person, you will see it all there. There will be no words required. So exactly when you are doing some selfless service to anybody, you will know what I'm talking about. But the problem is different. We have cluttered our head with so many concepts. Half the time when we are doing things, we have some idea behind it. That idea may be, I'm so good, I want to be good. Even that is an idea, borrowed idea. A blind person ko I am trying to hold his hand. By the time you cross the road, your ego would have swollen up. देखो कितना अच्छा काम किया. आज I will go and tell my mummy. हो गया खत्म. All your service gone. People will come and tell. अरे यार वो मेरा ड्राइवर था ना, उसका बेटी की शादी था तो मैंने दे दिए 5,000. अरे भाई, अभी दे दिया तो बता क्यों रहा है यार? क्यों बता रहा है? वेटर को टिप दे दिया, 500 रुपए दे दिया, उसको क्या बताना कि मैं तो 500 रुपए टिप देता हूँ. हेलो बॉस, व्हाट? You are trying to reserve a berth in Swarg. There is no Swarg anywhere. What happens if you go and God tells you that there is no account of charity? All idiots, you were doing things for others. Sabhi hell mein chalo sab. What if this happens? Who knows? Has anybody had a dialogue with God? Maybe he has a different plan for you. और तुम कहोगे नहीं सर मैंने बड़ा अच्छा काम किया था. तो कहेगा अच्छा काम तो किया था. I will tell you the layers behind it. This is a problem in psychiatry, the way I practice it. People ask me, why don't you tell? I said, boss, it becomes very radical. Because the problem is I can't stop telling them at one layer. You tell me you have done this thing, happy. Then you'll poke me, how was it? Then there'll be a problem. Because then I'll tell you the truth. And truth will be absolutely revolting. It happens. There's nothing morally right or wrong in it. Trust me. You understand what I'm saying? Don't weigh it in the sense of moral, right, wrong, good, bad. That all are external societal concepts. Truth is something else. The day you do things naturally for the other person, right? Then that moment is the truth. That moment is the truth because you have no thought there. So kids are more God-like. Kids can do more service to people. They do more service to people without knowing. But then we step in. ICSC board, CBSC board, religion, this, that, do this, become that. So he becomes an adult like us, who is doing something else, talking something else, wants to do something else. It's not that you are doing something and thinking. You want to do, really want to do. I trust people, they want to do good. But what is good? What is good? Let your maid tell you 3 days in a sequence that she will not come. And I'm not well. I bet 99% of the people in this country on the second day will start disbelieving the maid कि झूठ बोल रही होगी. आपको यकीन ना हो, go and test your homes. See, there is a wealthy person who is trying to help his brother, what will be the true help? A brother who is not earning and a person who is earning well. What will be the true help? Not like Ambani's, huh? बांट दिया, आधा पैसा दे दिया, 500 करोड़ दे देता है, वो क्या फर्क पड़ता है उससे? हमारा तो हमारा गरीब लोगों का. What?
Helping his brother
Hey.
grow financially.
अरे वो तो काम नहीं कर रहा बेटा, तो he'll not grow. We have given up.
उसको कुछ
Now what?
उसको जो
Should
काम
find
पसंद है,
jobs.
मतलब फिट है करने में, तो वैसा जॉब
नहीं, वो तो कर ही नहीं रहा बेटा. He's beyond all that.
Excuse me, sir. May I say something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, the thing is, मैं हिंदी में बात कर सकती हूँ. ये उसको भाई को कैसे अर्न करना है, वो उसको सिखाना है. ट्यूटर को लगा के
लेकिन वो मैं तो ये सब हो गया. All that stage is gone.
You should stop providing for him, sir.
मेरा ख्याल है जो देने का है वो दे सकते हैं, मगर सिखाना है ना, जो उन्होंने खुद सिखाया तो खुद अर्न कर लेता.
अर्न कर लेगा.
भाई को बिना डिपेंड करके उन्हें खुद अर्न कर सकता है.
क्रांति जी, अभी तो भाई सब अर्न करने का मना कर चुका. अभी तो गड़बड़ है. अभी हमारे पास 50 रुपीज है. अच्छा चलो, लेट मी आस्क यू डिफरेंटली. हमारा पास 100 रुपीज है, उसमें भाई और उसका वाइफ भी है और हमारा फैमिली भी है. ठीक है, ये 100 रुपीज है. 100 रुपीज इन अ डे. हाउ मच विल यू गिव टू योर ब्रदर?
100 रुपीज में.
ये रक्षिता, यू डोंट look puzzled, nah? Don't worry. All this happens in the world.
100 rupees.
No, how?
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
Iti, how much?
No,
nothing, sir. We will not.
See, I am talking to people who are on my screen, huh? Anybody who's hidden, please, if you want, please put on your video and join. Yeah, Deepti, tell me.
I'll not give the money. I'll not give 100 rupees or anything. I'll give for that day how much he need. Like, I'll just give food and shelter maybe.
Dekha, majority will do what you're doing. Majority will do what you're doing. Is absolutely human. Agreed. लेकिन यार एक्चुअल गेम तो ये है ना, ये कहते भाई है यार, मैं भाई के लिए कर रहा हूँ, तो चल जितने में मैं रहूंगा तू भी उतने मेरे, तू भी उतनी ऐश कर. We'll cut 50 rupees मैं रख लूंगा, 50 तू रख ले. कोई नहीं देगा. Most people will give some small share of their income to the brother कि तुम कुछ कर नहीं रहा, but you have to be alive. Keep this. You know what is this? We are like that. We are like that. But herein comes the trouble. It has already corrupted the whole idea of charity. Practically, it is fine. Pragmatically, it is fine. But here we are talking of a concept of how to serve selflessly. This is our selflessly. तो काम नहीं करता तो कम पैसे ले ले. मैं गोल्ड फ्लेक पीऊंगा तो 4 मीनार पी, ये नहीं होगा. मजा तो तब है कि मैं भी वो जो कर रहा हूँ वही तुम भी करो. कोई बात नहीं, कर क्या रहे हो, चलो भाई हो, ले लो आधा, यार क्या दिक्कत है. पर यहाँ तो अंबानी नहीं देता ऐसे, जिसके पास सरप्लस पैसा है. तो यू नो, वी आर caught in the pragmatics of life, which is our conditioning, the way society has trained us, versus our deeper emotional conditioning, which has come to us from 5,000 years and listening to people. But we also should look at people like Swamiji and Gandhi ji and Krishna and Buddha and all. They had left everything. They had left everything. So, अभी तो we are not in a habit of living. बुद्ध की तरह ऐसे मुट्ठी खोल, गांधी की तरह डोंट बॉदर कि बच्चे हैं कहां पढ़ेंगे क्या खाएंगे. He takes 70 people, comes from South Africa, without bothering कि who will feed them. वो तो टैगोर साहब का शांति निकेतन था, वो पटक दिया जाके उधर। कहाँ से पैसा आएगा, बच्चे कहाँ पढ़ेंगे, क्या वही डैम पता नहीं। स्वामी जी का हमें सीधा करेज, प्रॉब्लम पैसे का चल रहा है, उनका जवाब काली से मांगो जाके। वो कह रहे चलो काली से मांगो। अभी तो आम आदमी होता तो लोन ले लेता जाके, रिश्तेदारों से लोन लेता जाके, फिर वो कहता 0 इंटरेस्ट पे, 100 इंटरेस्ट पे। कृष्ण द्वारका बना के हस्तिनापुर में लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं उधर, कहाँ से कहाँ, कब घर बार उधर, उनके बच्चों का क्या हुआ पता नहीं। तो बाद में 30 साल बाद फिर युद्ध हो गया उधर। So, when it's easy to talk about egolessness, selflessness, service, but even in that moment, even for a second or a minute or so, you have to leave it. It happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. My thing is it happens unconsciously. अभी सामने बच्चा गिरा, चोट लगा, you feel bad, उठा दिया, egolessness हो गया, hello, gone. It's totally involuntary process. That is happening because of your mirror neurons and empathy and all that. But when you talk of service, the purpose of all your activity is this service cannot come without on the basis of this spurts of unconscious egolessness. It has to be cultivated. And it is all the more important now because we are bringing up a generation which is becoming more self-centered than us. Each successive generation is becoming more self-centered. When I'm saying self-centered, Kirti, don't feel bad, huh? It's not a blame on your generation. It is our fault. It's our fault. When we were kids, we used to share chappals with our cousins. Abhi to bachcha doesn't even want to share a bed. They don't want to share a television. How many televisions are there in each home now? पहले एक रहता था, सब देखते थे बैठ के, अभी सबका अपना अपना टेलीविजन। वो भी खत्म करो, लैपटॉप पे फिल्म देख लेते हैं। अभी तो फिल्में चलाना मुश्किल हो रहा है। What was a collective watching of an emotional story has shifted to a laptop. See how the world is constricting. On one hand, we want to do Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and on the other hand, we are bringing in a total Americanized lifestyle of individual self-centered life. Don't blame America. Don't blame Britishers. Don't blame Mughals. You know why? Why are we blame? Who is asking you to speed on the road and not drive on the left? Britishers were asking you to do this. Mughals were asking you to do this. I mean, you all live in Indian cities, huh? We know Indians, how they spit on the road, how they disrespect lines, how they disrespect lane system, how they disrespect women, how they disrespect caste. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? We want to do some cake के ऊपर का जो क्या होता है बेटा? What do you call that? When you make cake, you put something on the top. अरे सजाने के लिए cream, icing, whatever. I want to do good icing. Oh, see, core में we are doing all this in our daily lives. How many of you really go to the maid's house and see what is happening there? Which school teaches in this country? Tell me. Which school teaches you कि सड़क पे गाड़ी टकरा जाए तो गाली नहीं देना है? And we have all the guts to say, अमेरिका ने बिगाड़ा हमें। अरे भाई, आपने अमेरिका से लिया है। आप अमेरिका से ये क्यों नहीं सीखते कि वहां 9 to 5% doesn't move out of the chair? Have you realized this? Western countries run because if you have been allotted a duty, they will do it to the T. If they do a research, हमारे यहाँ between 9 to 5, you know what people do? अम्मा की तबीयत खराब है, बच्चे का जनेऊ है, बिजली का बिल है, फिर ये है, फिर वो है, फिर 5 o'clock office ends, right? And then you ask him, भैया अब क्या करोगे? अब कुछ करने को नहीं है। फिर वो गॉसिप करेगा, फिर वो बताएगा कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर को कैसे देश चलाना चाहिए। अपनी गाड़ी नहीं चल रही लेफ्ट में, उससे प्राइम मिनिस्टर को बताना चाहता है एवरीवेयर, ऑल अक्रॉस द कंट्री। So trust me, if you want to really bring in what you want to do, there's a lot has to be changed at a very, very grassroots daily life. And this change is not going to come from anywhere else. Where is it going to come from? From where?
Within.
Where?
Within.
Right. Each one of us gets back, corrects our own systems. Give full validation to the other person. Only then you will have enough empathy, enough egolessness to. You know what was Gandhi's process? How could you practice non-violence? Because he was practicing just one thing. He was saying the samne wala, the other person, is as valid and as important and as truthful as I am. Right? The mistake which this person has done, I can also do. So if I can also do the mistake, I'm not going to be violent or punishing myself. Right? So if I can't punish myself for the same act, why should I punish you? Masterpiece. I'm trying to write the neuroscience of Mahatma Gandhi these days. He brought these things. He had a great influence of Swamiji on him, though he couldn't meet him. He had a great influence of Christ, of Buddha and all that. Swamiji had a great influence of all this. But each of these great men took whatever was given to them and transformed it to bring up a new thing in their own life. Right? Don't run away from anything. Don't leave and go कि आज से धोती पहन के सड़क पे नाचना है। नहीं, नाचना है तो नाचो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, पर चॉइस से नाचो यार, चॉइस से नाचो, चॉइस होनी चाहिए लाइफ। सर्विस नहीं करनी मत करो, प्यार करो, प्यार करो। कृष्ण भगवान कौन सा सर्विस कर रहे थे? तो इश्क में थे। प्यार करो, प्यार करना है, एक से प्यार करना है, अपनों से प्यार करना है, दूसरों से प्यार नहीं करना है। फूल पत्ती से भी प्यार कर लो, घोड़े से भी कर लो, जो मिले करो, क्या प्रॉब्लम, कर लो, क्राइस्ट बन जाओ। ये चाहिए, ये चाहिए। यू नीड अ लार्ज हार्ट एंड कट्स ऑफ स्टील। ये जो ल्यूक वार्म काम होता है ना हम लोगों का बच्चों, थोड़ा ये कर लिया, थोड़ा वो कर लिया, थोड़ा रोटरी क्लब ऑफ कानपुर ग्रेटर honors Dr. Bajpai for his human service. Bullshit. What human service? Nothing. डॉक्टर्स है ना, मैं तो डॉक्टर हूँ, बताता हूँ, डॉक्टर्स के पास सर्विस का बहुत मौका है। The whole thing is about service, right? लेकिन तुम डॉक्टर से पूछ के देखो कितने लोग सर्विस के लिए आते हैं डॉक्टरी करने। ये वैसे ही है बेटा, जैसे फौज में जब जाते हैं लोग, राइट, तो उनके पीछे एक देश का वो होता है, पर कोई मरने थोड़ा ना जा रहा है वहां पे, वो तो जॉब कर, पहले तो जॉब कर जाते हैं, वो लड़ाई होती है, देन दे आर रेडी टू गिव देयर लाइफ। So this is the levels of understanding which people have. So everybody is doing that. Everybody who belongs to, so trust me, you belong to humanity. It's not a question of you belong to Calcutta or Visakhapatnam or Kanpur or Lucknow or whatever. These are all categories of life which have, brain divides things into category. तुम फीमेल, मैं मेल, तुम काली, मैं गोरा, तुम्हारी आंख बड़ी छोटी, दुबला पतला, कमर ऐसी, शक्ल ऐसी, गाड़ी कौन सी, पोर्श ले लो, बंगला ले लो, हवाई जहाज में चल लो, सीएम बन जाओ, पीएम बन जाओ, क्या, व्हाट इज ऑल दिस? This is a convenient ways of organizing the complex world, but the core basis of humanity which relates us, our 99% genes are same, our brains are same. अफ्रीका में जो बैठा है और अमेरिका में और तुम में मुझ में कोई फर्क नहीं है। There is a finite range of behavior which we all do. Am I right? सब ऐसे ही हंसते हैं, सब ऐसे ही रोते हैं, सब बच्चे के मरने पे रोते हैं, सब ऐसे करते हैं, बाकी सोसाइटल अरेंजमेंट है। बाकी societal arrangement. So what is the variation? Where is the difference? When there is no difference, what are we talking about? Why can't we just live happily, do our things, drive on the road thinking that the other person also owns a road bit? तो थोड़ा छोड़ दो भाई उसके लिए. जब थूकोगे सड़क पे पान खा के तो मत थूको यार, दूसरे पे पड़ जाएगा. जब कूड़ा अपने घर के बाहर पड़ोसी की तरफ फेंकते तो मत फेंको यार. पानी मत वेस्ट करो अपार्टमेंट में यार, सबके लिए. दूसरे की लड़की अपने घर लाओगे, उस पर पावर मत चलाओ, क्योंकि अपनी लड़की जाएगी तो उस पर भी पावर चलेगी. लड़कियां घर से जा क्यों रही है, मुझे यही समझ में नहीं आता आज तक. सीरियसली, व्हाट आर वी टॉकिंग? फॉरगेट सर्विस यार, अभी बड़े लोचे है बॉस. सोसाइटी इज टॉर्न इनसाइड. Half the population of this country is unhappy. Who is the half which is unhappy? Women. 50% women, not 50% women, 50% of the population. Women are unhappy. Those who claim they are happy, they should sit back and meditate and think whether they are happy or not. Imagine women in Swamiji's time. Have you heard of a couple of women who were so bold at that time that they could revolutionize the whole thing? There was one Ruqayya Begum and there was Sarla Rani Chaudhary, who was working with Gandhi also for 20 years. Where is the women freedom? Okay, I'll tell you the greatest service you can do to humanity. If you can stop parents from telling their girls कि ये तुम्हारा घर नहीं, दूसरा घर तुम्हारा है, it will change. How many parents do this? What, I'm raising very basic questions. Nobody can answer this. They may tell me 1000 shlokas in response to this. Not one of them will be truth. I am asking you one simple thing. Why? So I'm not saying this is right or wrong. Then if you ask people this, they'll say नहीं परंपरा है. अरे परंपरा में दुख है क्या? परंपरा में तो गरीब थे और अमीर थे, क्या सर्विस हो रही थी वहां पे? क्या सर्विस थी? राजा साहब महीने में एक दिन आएंगे, 4 पूड़ी खिला देंगे लोगों को, हो गई सर्विस? नहीं होती सर्विस. एक 18 एसी लगा के रह रहा है, एक के घर में पंखा नहीं है, कैसे होगा? So what I'm trying to tell you is, because you all are young people and you invited me to disrupt your life, these days I refuse to talk, because I know that if I talk, I am practicing psychiatry for 32 years and I'm teaching Gandhi, I'm doing cinema, I teach neuroscience. I am telling you, somebody was asking me yesterday in IT that you should write a book. I said, boss, if I write a book, I'll be killed. क्योंकि हर तरफ से फतवा निकल आएगा मेरे लिए. ये फतवे का सवाल नहीं है, सवाल ट्रूथ का है. तुम लोगों के लिए it's very important that you guys go to the bottom line of everything and build up from there. Don't take easy answers. Everything will fall flat. Everything will be a drama unless you really change the core of the person. The core of the person has to change from schools, right? From your own kids, but before that, you yourself, and you have to teach your parents also. Go and teach your parents first. Ask them not to be fearful of changing systems. Let one parent come and tell a daughter that this is your house. This, not somebody else's house. I'll put him in a God's pedestal, I'm telling you. You change just 50% of this and see how life changes. Because women have tremendous capacity, more than males. They are more compassionate. The problem with women in this country is that they can't think beyond their home. Mera bachcha, mera pati, meri amma, mera saas. Arey, what? So, seriously. If Gandhi was right in saying that all misery of this country will end if mothers just start looking at every kid as their own kid, and this मेरा kid हटा देंगे, सब बराबर हो जाएगा. Because then they'll treat everybody equally. Because this all breeds self-centeredness, jealousy, race, gain. Imagine, yaar, look at it. You are teaching a small kid कि बेटा top करो, ये करो, यार, CEO बन जाओ, ये बन जाओ, right? 18 years you teach the kid this. From 9 to 12th you are ready to take the kid out of social life and put the kid in quota कि JEE में select होना पहली बार. Then 4 years in IIT he wants to be a CEO of a company, right? 30 years of training, and then you tell him कि बेटा आप समाज के लिए कुछ करो. What samaj? He has not seen what samaj is. Because when he was in Kota, his grandmother was dying. The father said, "Beta, you don't worry, you don't come. I'll handle it." अब दादी मर गई तो क्या पढ़ाई छोड़ दोगे? अभी तो जेई का एग्जाम है तुम्हारा. वो भी सोचता है जेई का एग्जाम इज इंपॉर्टेंट, तो दे रहा जेई का एग्जाम. फिर लड़कियां विदा करी जाती, कहती बेटा पति तुम्हारा जो है वो भगवान है ना, उसको बीच में रख के घुमाओ ऐसे कोलू के बैल. वो कुछ करती ही नहीं, वो तो यही सोचती रहती, फिर वो पति बताता रहता है. वो अकल क्या क्या किसी के लिए करेगी जाके, वो तो इसी में अटक गई. आप जो विजन दे वो लोग ले रहे हैं विजन. एनीवे, I'll stop at this, otherwise it will be too much for you all. गालियां मत देना मुझे, और गालियां देना हो तो मेरा नंबर ले लो, फोन नंबर नोट करो, फोन पे व्हाट्सएप पे गालियां देना मुझे. लिख लो नंबर 9839027402. Please, we continue the dialogue. Abhi I'll
So
stop
please
for the
repeat,
time
sir.
being.
I put it
98390.
on chat.
हाँ ठीक है ठीक है. So why I was telling all this is not to give a broader view of always whatever you want to do, it service or I'm not saying don't do this or don't do that. You choose. Have a choice in it. And once you've chosen something, please take it to the last thread and then modify yourself. Then what will come out will be you. That day when you will hold somebody's hand, na, that will be your 100% going to hold your hand. Otherwise, आधे ये आधे वो क्या है? आनंद जो है ना, आनंद की तलाश, सब आनंद का चक्कर है, सब कृष्ण भगवान का. तो पहुंचोगे कैसे कृष्ण तक? कृष्ण तो मैं ला के खड़ा कर दूं यहाँ पे, अभी करोगे क्या उनका? तुम बेहोश होके गिर जाओगे देख के, मां क्या करना है, करना क्या? तो अभी डोंट कॉल मुसीबत ऑन योर हेड. First get ready, get to that level, then talk. For that, what is important is knowledge. You can't undermine knowledge. Think what you're going to do, right? Have your full trust, your being into it. Being into it. तीर मत चलाओ, खुद तीर बन जाओ. A.R. रहमान जब म्यूजिक देता है तो खुद हो जाता है उसमें, तभी म्यूजिक डिवाइन निकलती है इससे. कभी क्लासिकल वोकलिस्ट को सुनो ना, डिवाइन क्यों हो जाता है वो? डिवाइन इज नथिंग. You know what is divine? Divine is your whole being going into one single thing. It's so possible. But problem फिर वो गलत सही अच्छा बुरा, ये वो दूसरे ने बताया, अंकल ने बताया, आंटी ने बताया, गुरुजी ने बताया. अरे ठीक है भाई, सब it's all well. Listen, pray, have faith. At the end of it, tell me one thing which all big people have said, right from Buddha to Swamiji to Gandhiji to Krishna. One thing. Buddha was dying. He was asked by his cousin Anand. He said, एक बात बताओ यार, इतना बात 40 साल से बोल रहे हो, एक बात बताओ. क्या बात बोल रहे थे बुद्धा? up Deepo Bhava. Be your own light. Be your own light. कहीं जाना नहीं है, कहीं भागना नहीं है, कुछ करना नहीं है, कुछ छोड़ना नहीं है, क्योंकि अच्छा दूसरा, अभी छोड़ दोगे सब, छोड़ दो, चलो तो फिर सर्विस करने क्यों आना है किसी की? अब छोड़ ही दिया तो छोड़ दिया, जाने दो इसको, होने दो, दुनिया तो बह रही है। आपका कौन सर्विस पूछ रहा है? आप छोड़ के गए, अपना बैठिए आराम से जंगल में जहाँ बैठना है। जिनको सर्विस करना है वो रह लेंगे ना। गांधी जी बीच में रह के सर्विस भी कर रहे थे, रिनंसिएशन भी कर रहे थे। कृष्ण ने तो रिनंसिएशन भी नहीं किया, तब भी सर्विस कर गए वो। अरे सर्विस के लिए तो जुड़ोगे दूसरे से, छोड़ के भागोगे। मैं लोगों से कहता हूँ अपना छोड़ के भाग गए, सपोज घर छोड़ दिया आपने, दूसरों की सेवा कर रहे हो, अरे उनकी क्यों नहीं कर रहे थे भाई? उनमें क्या कुछ अलग था, प्रॉब्लम था उनका? डायनासोर थे वो। किससे भाग के किसकी सर्विस कर रहे हो? बिकॉज इट्स ऑल ह्यूमन, it's all human. Whatever life you choose, that is a choice, perfect, respected, but at the end of the day you are doing everything for human beings. वो जो रॉकेट आसमान में भेज रहे हैं वो भी अल्टीमेटली तो कॉलोनी बसाने के लिए ना, ह्यूमंस की। जेनेटिक रिसर्च है, न्यूरो साइंस है, स्पिरिचुअलिटी है, पूजा पाठ है, जो भी आप कर रहे हो वो आपकी चॉइस है, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। तो ऐसे देखिए, मजा आए तो वैसे ही करिएगा, ना मजा आए तो जैसे कर रहे हो वैसे करते रहना। ऑलराइट। और मैं तो न्यूरो साइंस करता हूँ, इसलिए मैं तो हर चीज को आई कैन प्रूव इट टू न्यूरॉन्स, व्हाटएवर वी नो। बट एनीवे, यू, इट्स अगेन योर चॉइस। मेरा तात्पर्य यह है कि यार सोच समझ। ओके, आई विल एंड एट दिस, अदरवाइज इट विल गो ऑन फॉरएवर। पूछ लो, कुछ पूछ लो, सब मुझे मालूम नहीं है, इसलिए मैं तो अपना आइडिया आपको बता रहा था।
Thank you so much, sir. Do
अरे
anybody has any
थैंक यू,
questions?
कोई बात नहीं बेटा।
Excuse me, sir.
अभी भी क्वेश्चंस होंगे तो यस सर, प्लीज।
May I say something?
यस सर, प्लीज सर, सर प्लीज 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 सर।
नमस्ते साहब।
नमस्कार सर।
मैं भी जो है टीचिंग प्रोफेशन का हूँ।
जी सर, जी सर।
आप आपके फोन नंबर देते हुए ये बता रहे थे कि किसी को अगर गालियां देना है तो आपके फोन नंबर हाजिर है बोल के आप बता रहे थे।
बिल्कुल सर।
मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि क्या बोलते हैं, ऑनलाइन मीटिंग होने के नाते हम आपको गले तो नहीं लगा सकते?
सर मैं लगा लेता हूँ आपको।
God bless you.
God bless you, sir.
I fully appreciate your frank dissection of the attitude of the human mind. You have incisively dissected into the mind of the youth or even old people, that does not matter. You are trying to beautifully present us a point that how can you limit yourself with your ego and say that you are serving others or you are willing to serve others, etc. That I think as a take-home point from your presentation. Another point.
Sir, please send your number also.
हाँ जी, जरूर अभी दे दूंगा मैं। Another point is when you said that say Buddha to I mean say Swamiji or Vivekananda to Gandhi to whichever way, I mean whether it is what shall I say, arranged in a ascending order or descending order, that does not matter. Those were rare, very rare specimens of humanity.
Yes.
And we are such common specimens of humanity that we are finding it difficult with our limitations to live within our limitations.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Consequently, occasional adventures and excursions into social service, or when we are devotees, as our Swamiji puts it, usually we are part-time devotees.
यस,
भगवान के ऊपर पूरा भरोसा नहीं रखते हैं।
ना 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 ना,
जितना होना अब इंस्टेंटली इतना मुझे दे दो बस है, बाद में तुम जाके छुप जाओ कहीं, मैं जब बुलाऊंगा उस वक्त हमें दर्शन देना।
फिर हाँ, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
ये एटीट्यूड के वजह से न घर का न घाट का।
अरे परफेक्ट सर, यू सेड इट एब्सोल्युटली।
So this is another point which I wanted to share with you, sir. A third important point which I said is, which you stated is, it seems, I mean, I'm quoting you, Gandhiji has said somewhere that if every mother were to consider every child as her own child, that will solve almost all the problems. Point तो अच्छा है, लेकिन नामुमकिन चीज है ना साहब।
नामुमकिन।
हाँ, आजकल क्या हो रहा है, sorry, my sisters and others, please don't mistake me or quote me out of context. खुद अपने बच्चे के से प्रेम करने को टाइम नहीं मिल रहा है।
सही कह रहा है।
दूसरे बच्चों से भी जो है वही प्यार रखने का मौका कहाँ मिलेगा?
हाँ बिल्कुल।
So it's self-centered. You were mentioning earlier, say 10-15 minutes ago, that we have all become, I mean, so mechanical, so considerate about our own selves. We have become inconsiderate about others. ये ego को control करना है, control करे तो अच्छा रहेगा, etc. Now the question which I wanted to ask is, I'm not talking about myself. I'm an ordinary fellow with all the weaknesses that are likely to be there. My point is, let's say a person convinced of your approach is likely to sincerely, honestly try to say control or remove their ego, and be in a very generous way deal with others. But others are likely to exploit that person more. First जाएंगे,
मैंने इसका मार्ग निकाला है सर।
हाँ बोलिए साहब, वही तो मैं जवाब सुनना चाहता हूँ आपसे।
इसका मार्ग ये है
जी,
मतलब देखिए, इसका मार्ग दो चीजें हैं कि मैं काफी सोचने के बाद और काफी कृष्ण और बुद्ध और गांधी और इतनी वर्कशॉप से थोड़ा किताबें लिखने के बाद, एंड बिकॉज आई एम फॉर्चुनेट दैट आई एम इन अ सिचुएशन ऑफ ए साइकियाट्रिस्ट, जिसके पास लोग 50 आते हैं और बातें करते हैं, तो आई ऑल्सो गेट अ चांस टू वर्क दिस आउट। I think one has to work on oneself in two things. One, मतलब गांधी की कहानी है कि मैं और द अदर पर्सन may disagree. We may not be able to agree on something, but I will work on two levels. It's slightly difficult. One, that I will keep loving you or my generosity or whatever from my side, whatever I can do. But how much trouble I take from you, how much dukkha I take from you, I will not allow you to decide. I will decide that. थोड़ा मुश्किल है। मैं प्यार करूंगा। मैं तो सर आजकल कहता हूं इंडिया में प्रॉब्लम क्या हो गया है कि प्यार देना मुश्किल है तो प्यार लेना भी मुश्किल है। इफ यू गिव अनकंडीशनल लव टू समबडी, वो भी डर क्या है, चक्कर क्या है, व्हाई इज ही लविंग, व्हाई। तो अभी सो इट्स लाइक कि ठीक है, आई कैन लव यू, आई कैन डू इन माय बेस्ट कैपेसिटी, दिस इज व्हाट आई कैन डू, यू टेक इट, यू डोंट टेक इट, इफ यू रिटर्न बैक इट टू मी, आई विल टेक इट, व्हाटएवर। बट आई ये मैं डिसाइड करूंगा कि तुमसे मैं कितना दुख लूंगा, तो मुझे दुख दोगे, मुझे दुख नहीं लेना मुझे भाई। ये ट्रेनिंग है लेकिन ब्रेन का, एंड फॉर दिस वन हैज टू वर्क 24/7। बट वंस यू हैव वर्कड ऑन दिस, इवन इफ यू आर एबल टू रिड्यूस दिस बाय 70%, life is a bliss. And trust me sir, no unhappy person can ever make anybody happy.
सो परफेक्टली राइट सर। अपने पास अगर है ही नहीं तो दूसरों से कैसे बांट सकते हैं, कैसे दे सकते हैं?
क्या बात है, कैसे बात है।
अपने पास अपने दिल भर रहना चाहिए।
हाँ,
आप
एब्सोल्युटली
आप जब बात
एब्सोल्युटली।
कर रहे थे, मुझे एक
जी
पॉपुलर फिल्म गाने का एक लाइन याद आ रहा था साहब,
जी
शायद आप भी सुने होंगे, राधा कैसे
जी।
न जले।
हाँ,
तो इतना
सही
इतना
बात है, सही
नेचुरल
बात।
है, वो इतना
नेचुरल
नेचुरल
नेचुरल।
है कि वो प्रेम जो है ना, वो तो जलसी
जी
ही तो है।
आ रहे, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सर, लेकिन
वो
ठीक है, रस है
कृष्ण
वो भी।
कन्हैया, हाँ कृष्ण कन्हैया किसी के वास्ते नहीं, सिर्फ मेरे और मेरे वास्ते ही उन्होंने एक
हाँ
नजर
सही
देखा
सही सही।
या कुछ बात करा या कुछ प्ले कर रहे थे, तो चलो मेरा
हम्म।
हिस्सा कम हो गया।
मैं
लास्ट
आजकल
सेंटेंस
सर
फ्रॉम माय
अभी,
साइड।
नो नो परफेक्ट सर, आई एम ट्राइंग टू write a theory these days. It will take some time, so I'll
वेरी
share it
गुड,
with you
वेरी
someday. I'll share it with you.
लवली।
ये जो कहानी
विल
है, love jealousy and all that, रसा।
बी वेरी
Anything
ईगरली
else?
वेटिंग, 1 second sir, we'll be very eagerly waiting for that neuroscience of Gandhiji book. I also love Gandhiji. I'll be very happy.
I got your number. I got your number. I will send you the link. I've written a book called An Hour with the Mahatma. Maybe I'll take
अच्छा,
your address and post it to you. Okay?
right sir। एक
Done sir,
लास्ट
done sir.
सेंटेंस एक चीज है।
जी
I think the Maya or the Brahma,
हम्म।
which was made a part of our survival instinct, is the cause
Yes.
of ego. अगर मैं मेरे बारे में नहीं सोचूंगा तो जी नहीं सकूंगा। और
सर
ये
आज
अनरियल,
आज आप मिले क्या मुझे? अब आप देखिए,
जी
आपने
जी,
एक दूसरा शब्द ला दिया, माया। मेरी दूसरी
हाँ जी,
किताब का नाम है माया इज रियलिटी एंड हाउ द ब्रेन क्रिएट्स इट।
वेरी गुड सर। मायावती
आई
नहीं,
विल सेंड
माया है।
बोथ ऑफ यू टू
थैंक यू सर,
एंजॉय
थैंक यू सो मच,
एंजॉय
गॉड
एंजॉय।
ब्लेस यू।
या थैंक्स सर, वंडरफुल सर, थैंक यू। हाँ भाई बच्चों, हो गया, चले अपने अपने घर, जाओ खुश
Um,
रहो, एंजॉय करो।
so yeah, I think we have another question from
हाँ प्लीज
Soham.
प्लीज प्लीज। हाँ
He is
पूछो यार।
asking, what can you say about education in India and how we can ace and be unique and not in crowd?
Education in India, all schools should be closed down for 2 years. I was very happy when COVID happened, but the problem is that the schools did not close down. They kept an online nonsense. All schools should be closed down. All teachers should be given rest. They should, all schools should be asked a dossier by the government कि आप अपना education के बारे में idea बताइए। फिर कुछ देश में 50-100 इंटेलिजेंट लोगों को बैठा के वो डॉक्यूमेंट पढ़वाओ, फिर बच्चों को पढ़ाओ। एक, अगर इंसान बनाना है तो क्लास 4th तक, 8th 9th 10th तक सब्जेक्ट मत पढ़ाओ, उनको क्लासिकल म्यूजिक सिखाओ, उनको आर्कियोलॉजी सिखाओ, उनको मॉन्यूमेंट्स दिखाओ, उनको भगवान मत बताओ, उनको भगवान इंसान के रूप में जब आए थे क्या किए थे वो बताओ, फिलॉसफी बताओ, इंसान को इंसान समझना सिखाओ। जब कॉग्निटिव स्टेटस डेवलप हो जाए तब फिजिक्स मैथमेटिक्स इंग्लिश पढ़ाओ। अभी जो हो रहा है, 2.5 साल में एडमिशन हो जाता है, 20th तक तुम लोग का पढ़ने का सारा एनर्जी ठप हो जाता है। यू डोंट वांट टू रीड बुक्स, यू वांट टू चेंज द वर्ल्ड विदाउट नॉलेज, वो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन। सिंपल। अगर आप ये करेंगे तो आप यकीन मानिए नोबेल लॉरेट्स अगले 200 साल यहाँ नहीं पैदा होंगे। अमेरिका सिर्फ इसलिए महान नहीं है कि अमेरिका के पास टेक्नोलॉजी है, अमेरिका इसलिए महान है कि वो ज्ञानी नर्चर करता है अपने यहाँ। MITs में, स्टैनफोर्ड में पागल लोगों को नर्चर करता है। वो पागल लोग थॉट्स लाते हैं बड़े बड़े। हमारे यहाँ झेलम में व्यास के किनारे बैठ के वेद बनाए गए थे, जंगलों में उपनिषद बनाए गए थे। एक बुद्ध बैठ के कर देता है, गांधी बैठ के कर देता है। हम जब तक ये ओपन थिंकिंग नहीं लाएंगे कुछ नहीं होने वाला, क्राउड में ही रहोगे। और क्राउड कैसी होगी? अमेरिका का काम लेना, क्लर्क्स की तरह करना सब लोग बैठ के। अभी नहीं करना है ना ये, तो बच्चों को पहले डेवलप होने दो, फिर पढ़ा लेना। जब व्हाट इज द हरी? अरे PhD 25 में नहीं करेगा, 27 में कर लेगा। एक see you have to tell people what is your commitment is the field। तो आज PhD करो, 3 साल बाद करो, 30 में कर लो। यूएस में कर देना 57 में PhD। हाँ, हमारे यहाँ प्रॉब्लम है यार, PhD कर लो, नौकरी नहीं मिलेगी। बगल के कॉलेज में प्रोफेसर कैसे बनोगे? अरे नहीं बनोगे प्रोफेसर, किताब लिखना बैठ के। टीचर बन जाना भाई, सर है ना, पूछो। टीचर तो आप किसी को पढ़ा सकते हो यार, ऐसी क्या प्रॉब्लम है भाई? मैं तो फॉर्मल एकेडमिक्स में नहीं हूं ना, लेकिन मुझसे तो इंस्टीट्यूट के अंदर नहीं पढ़ाते लोग। मेरे कोर्सेज जो NPTEL पे हैं, जो पढ़ते हैं लोग, मुझे कोई, आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि आई एम अ ग्रेट टीचर, बट क्वेश्चन आई वांट टू, व्हाट आई नो आई शुड शेयर इट। तो क्राउड से अलग होना है बेटा, तो पहले सेल्फ डिफाइन करो, स्व। लेकिन अब स्व कैसे डिफाइन होगा जब सब लड़कियां दुबली होना चाहती हैं, सब एक पैरामीटर में खूबसूरत होना चाहती हैं, तो डाइवर्सिटी कैसे एक्सेप्ट करोगे भाई? डाइवर्सिटी तो एक्सेप्ट करो। तो सुंदरता की डाइवर्सिटी खत्म कर दोगे? सारे फूल एक जैसे होंगे, सारे एप्पल एक जैसे होंगे, सारे गधे एक जैसे होंगे, सब लड़कियां एक ही फिगर की होंगी, सब सलमान खान की तरह बॉडी होगी, वेयर इज द डाइवर्सिटी भाई? तो आप लोगों को कॉन्शियस कर देते हैं कि तुम मोटे हो कि पतले हो, टमी अंदर अभी लगा है, खत्म, क्राउड अंदर हो गया। डाइवर्सिटी एक्सेप्ट करो, सब क्राउड के बाहर हो जाओगे। सब अलग हो ही दुनिया में, नेचर ने या ईश्वर ने अलग ही बनाया है। ईच वन ऑफ यू इज डिफरेंट with the same set of 99% genes. Our smiles are different, our skin, it may match, but we all are different. We don't accept each other. और स्कूलों में क्या होता है, टीचर कहते हैं ये अलग बच्चा है, वो अलग बच्चा है, पढ़ो लो, सब लोग पढ़ पढ़ के क्या बन जाओ, पता नहीं क्या बनना है, जो भी बनना है बनो। तो बनने में कुछ चॉइस तो रखो ना यार, ठीक है? और कुछ? ये रक्षिता, लोग मारेंगे
Yes,
मुझे,
sir.
जाने दे यार। हाँ ठीक है, और कुछ?
We have another question.
My girl, what are you doing to me? हाँ चलो बताओ।
Is it required to have an attitude?
Attitude? What? Attitude ना?
Yeah, attitude. The question is it
मतलब
required
क्या
to
है
have
इसका? Attitude तो मतलब किसका है? लड़का पूछ रहा है कि लड़की पूछ रही है? कौन पूछ रहा है?
girl, लड़की।
हाँ, शक्ल कहाँ है उसकी? तो शक्ल तो लाओ
Uh,
उसकी सामने, वो तो वीडियो ऑन करे।
whoever has
कीर्ति हंस
asked
रही,
this, do you want to explain?
प्लीज प्लीज, अरे कम ओवर यार मैन, इफ यू हैव एटीट्यूड शो इट बॉस।
Can you please
Hey,
elaborate what question was that?
हाँ प्लीज 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 आस्क मी डायरेक्टली। अरे
Okay.
डोंट बी ashamed, there is nothing right or wrong, it's all perfect.
So it's
यही तो
Attitude
बात है, अब
जी,
यही तो
ये सर
बात
एक,
है ना।
yes,
I
sir.
want to
किसने
see
पूछा था?
everyone, but I
अम्बती?
don't want to be seen.
Yes, sir.
No, she is here. Ambati, yeah, ask me, tell me.
Sir, like हर जगह एटीट्यूड या कुछ होना है कहते हैं ना, सो क्या वो हमेशा नेसेसरी होता है?
नहीं, बिल्कुल नेसेसरी नहीं होता। पहली बात तो जो लोग एटीट्यूड कैरी करते हैं, यू कैन नॉट डिफरेंशिएट वेदर देयर इज अ फॉल्सिटी दे हैव पुट इट ऑन अ फेस और दे आर नेचुरली लाइक दिस। अदजल गगरी छलकत जाए, देयर इज अ सेइंग, somebody who is really heavy and has a gravitas has no attitude. Have you seen attitude of AR Rahman? No. Have you seen AR Rahman?
Yes, sir.
AR
Yes,
Rahman
sir.
को सचिन?
Yes, sir.
गांधी जी?
Yes, sir.
Do you see attitude in them?
Not
Albert
really.
Einstein doesn't have to show an attitude. What attitude will he show? He is this. He is a genius. Doesn't have to prove it, right? But a lot of other people have to prove it, and they'll keep talking and doing this and doing that. So develop a knack of seeing beyond the attitude. Chances are somebody who is a real solid stuff will be very natural. They'll have no attitude. So what I'm saying, okay, let me tell you in one sentence. Have you heard of Gita?
Yes, sir.
Lord Krishna's Gita, ना?
Yes, sir. Yes.
हाँ, तो अभी तो तुमने श्लोक भी बहुत सुने होंगे। सुने ही होंगे कहीं ना कहीं से।
हाँ सर।
Okay, what is the most important श्लोक according to you?
सर मुझे ज्यादा आइडिया नहीं है, पर पहला
फिर भी
श्लोक पता है।
कौन सा?
पहला श्लोक इट गोज ऑन लाइक
क्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे
समवेदा मामकाः
राइट। वो तो कृष्ण अर्जुन से क्या कह रहे थे कि भाई तो बातें ज्ञानियों से कर रहा है, काम मूर्खों से कर रहा है, क्या बात है। अगर आम बोलचाल की भाषा में कृष्ण जी बात कर रहे होते तो आम बोलचाल की भाषा में करो, क्यों कॉम्प्लिकेट करना लाइफ। दूसरा, हिंदुस्तान में किसी से पूछो वो कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन कर देता है। मेरा कहना है, एक निवेदन उनसे रहता है हाथ जोड़ के कि भाई साहब, आप अपने कर्म के फल से डिटैच नहीं हो सकते, क्योंकि आपका ब्रेन ही वैसे डेवलप नहीं हुआ है। आपका ब्रेन डेवलप हुआ है आपके कॉन्टेक्स्ट और एनवायरनमेंट में। डिटैच होके कहाँ जाओगे, मर जाओगे। कृष्ण जी कुछ और कह रहे थे। कृष्ण जी कह रहे थे कर्म तुम्हारे हाथ में है, उसकी ट्रेजेक्टरी का फल क्या होगा उस पर तुम्हारा बस नहीं है। तो फल की इच्छा तो करोगे ही, वरना काम ही क्यों करोगे, मस्त रहो ना फिर। लेकिन कर्म के बाद वो जाएगा कहाँ, ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट श्लोक है। लेकिन इससे पहले एक श्लोक है, स्वधर्मम निधर्म श्रेयम पराधर्मो भयावह। अपने धर्म में मर भी जाओ वो बेहतर है दूसरे के धर्म में जीने से, वो भयावह है। धर्म मतलब रिलीजन नहीं है, तब तो रिलीजन कोई था ही नहीं। महाभारत के समय तो कोई रिलीजन था नहीं। धर्म वो कह रहे हैं जो आपका इनर नेचर है, जो आपको धारण किए हुए। आपको सिर्फ आपका इनर नेचर धारण किए, और वो हम सब में थोड़ा 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 डिफरेंट है। तो जिस दिन अपने धर्म में जियोगे, एटीट्यूड तो बेवकूफों के खेल है यार। अपने धर्म में जी रही हो तो हो, एटीट्यूड उसके लिए जो अपने धर्म में जी नहीं रहा है। इसीलिए जब बिटिया ये ले आओगी ना कहानी, तो एक काम का बिल्कुल झंझट खत्म हो जाएगा, मॉरलिटी का। तब अच्छा बुरा गलत सही क्या ये बताओ। मैं तो धर्म से कर रहा हूं, मैं दुर्योधन हूं, मैं तो दुर्योधन वाले काम करूंगा। तुम पांडव हो, रोक लो। समझ गई? अब
हाँ
जाके
सर।
ये गीता पढ़ाना लोगों को। आज के बाद लोग पत्थर मारे तो मेरी तरफ डायरेक्ट कर देना, मैं निपट लूंगा। तुम कह देना मुझे डॉक्टर वाजपेयी ने बताया, जाइए उनसे बात कर लीजिए। ठीक है,
थैंक यू सर।
चलो यार, मस्त रहो। संडे शाम को क्यों तुम लोग ज्ञान प्राप्त करना चाहते हो? खुश रहो बच्चों, हंसो बोलो, जाओ अपने गाल वाल चमकाओ, लाल लाल रखो, सब खुश रहो। लाइफ एंजॉय करो। लाइफ रस के लिए भेजी गई है। तुम लोगों को धर्म ग्रंथ लिखने क्या यहाँ पे बैठ के? कृष्ण भगवान रस लेके चले गए, तुम लोग पता नहीं क्यों सीरियसली लेते हो इतना सब कुछ। चलो ठीक है, ऑल द बेस्ट, कीप इन टच, विल कीप टॉकिंग। एंड रक्षिता, प्लीज सेंड मी द रिकॉर्डिंग।
Yes, sir, sure. Thank you so much, sir, for those.
Sometimes when I want to hate myself, I listen to myself. Chalo, keep happy. All right.
Yes, thank you so much, sir.
Ambati, send me your attitude, huh? I want to see it. Next time you should have it like what? All right. ठीक है सर, विश्वनाथन जी प्रणाम, मिलते हैं सर।
प्रणाम प्रणाम प्रणाम।